Hello and welcome to another segment of Gospel in the Real. My name is Tasheekia Perry and I am the founder of Crowning Daughters for Success.
I'm Pastor Patricia Bryan, Nazareth Church of God in Cape Coral. Welcome again. We're talking today about having good communication in our marriage. Notice the word good, because there are all kinds of communications that can take place in our marriages, but we're talking about good communication. Communication that helps us to grow. Communication that when it is over, we have our souls are built up and we feel like we belong. We feel like we're worth something to someone, our husband, because we're saying in marriage. Okay. And it has to start in the relationship when it starts. If he's not a good communicator in the beginning, don't think it's going to happen in the end. So you need to know what you want.
You definitely need to know what you want.
You need to know. And we need to have good communication in our marriages because it helps us to grow.
Yeah.
It helps us to heal. It helps us to be all that we can be.
Absolutely.
To our husbands.
Absolutely.
I don't know about you, but I found that communication is an issue for me. Not putting my husband out there, but I'm talking about communication.
Okay.
A lot of times I say something and he takes it wrong, or he gets the wrong picture of what I'm saying. Communication isn't just words that's spoken. It is actually hearing my heart.
Absolutely.
You have to get to the place, and with your mate, have to hear each other's heart.
Absolutely.
Good communication only takes place when we know each other well enough to hear each other's heart. What do you think about that, Mr. Chica?
You know what? I think you're so right. In knowing someone's heart, you have to trust. When there isn't a certain level of trust, the first thing you're going to do is magnify every negative point you can magnify. And I was married for 11 years. And so I know how important communication is, because that is what the enemy wants to tank. Because if he can get us to stop talking, he can get us to stop communicating effectively, then he has the marriage.
He's got it. Simple thing. People think it's sex. Let me sit up for this. Sex is good. Wonderful. But it is not the heart of the marriage.
Absolutely.
The heart of the marriage is communication. Because if you can't communicate with me in the way that you need to before we get to the bed, then when we get to the bed, there's going to be some issues.
It's going to be some issues.
There's going to be. We might as well just real. I'm a very real person. Nothing to hide. This is what life is about. And just because I'm a pastor doesn't mean I don't have a life.
Absolutely.
We do have lives. And we need to be able to talk about it in a godly way.
Absolutely.
But allow each other to understand. I want my partner to understand my heart.
Absolutely.
I want to walk away from him when we've had a conversation feeling whole.
Absolutely.
Feeling empowered. Feeling loved. Feeling heard.
Feeling heard.
If I'm not heard, I'm going to walk away frustrated.
Absolutely.
Disgusted.
Absolutely.
Telling him I want a divorce.
Yeah.
Because I want to be heard.
Absolutely.
It's a need. And I believe as women, we all have that need. We need our partners to hear us.
Yes.
Maybe on the man's side, they feel the same way. That we are not hearing them. So we need to develop a way to get to hear each other.
Yeah, and we need to hear without being offended. Because when we ask someone to communicate their heart to us, it's not going to always be you're handsome, you're gorgeous, you're the love of my life.
No.
It may be I want you to pick those stinky socks up because I'm tired of picking them up. It may be before you kiss me in the morning, could you brush your teeth? It could be those things. It could be some hard things, but you asked me to communicate my heart to you, and when I tell you my heart and you shut down, it's going to cause me not to communicate those truths, because I don't want to go back and forth on an emotional roller coaster because you can't handle the truth.
Yes, and this is the issue a lot of marriages are having. This is what breaks marriages down. They cannot listen to each other's heart.
Absolutely.
Marriages are being destroyed, and the enemy is using this one tool. He's winning. He's actually winning. There's more divorce in the church than ever before. The church is where we're supposed to be whole.
Absolutely.
We're supposed to pray together, you know. The family that prays together, it sounds like cliche, but it's actually the truth. A husband and wife that has learned to pray together, guess what? They are learned each other's heart. They're hearing it in prayer.
Absolutely.
They're learning to communicate in prayer to God.
Absolutely.
Now when they get up, they can communicate because they're on the same page.
Absolutely.
We understand what matters to each other. You know, if you like sport as my husband and I don't like sport, we could still not communicate about sports, but find the things that we both have in common to communicate about.
Absolutely.
And don't do it in a way that brings an argument. I heard you just say it. A lot of times we get negative. You know, my husband says something to me and I take it negative because I didn't like the tone of his voice, one. That's usually what happens. I didn't like the tone, or I didn't like what was said. And so I start defending myself.
Yes.
When that happens, I'm no longer in this this is no longer good communication.
Right.
This becomes an argument. And that's what happens. And before we rush off in our opposite directions because we're mad at each other.
Absolutely.
And the enemy says, yes,
I got him.
I got him again.
You know, if we're communicating, every couple, I believe, needs to have a safe zone. A place that you communicate that both parties feel safe. Safe to tell the truth, safe to ask whatever questions, safe to remind or safe to revisit certain things. There should be a certain time that you mentally get yourself together and say, okay, we're going to enter the safe zone because we need to talk. That means phones are off. Television is off. We're in a safe zone and we're going to talk about some stuff and we're going to deal with some issues without jumping down each other's throat or without running out of the room, without screaming, I hate you, I should have never married you. You know, as someone who would like to be married again, I feel that a lot of people don't feel safe. So they don't communicate. They feel like you're going to say you're just insecure, you're just jealous, or you're just a nagger, or you're just this, you're too that. So they don't feel safe, so they shut down and they begin to communicate with other people who's not leading them in the way that they should go. That's not giving them productive, sound advice.
Because nobody can give you advice about what's going on in your own marriage.
Absolutely.
It's got to be worked out between both of you. Because how you handled your stuff or what happened in your marriage might have been good for you.
Absolutely.
It's not necessarily the same thing that's good for me. Can we give each other advice? Yes, but if it's not good advice, I don't need it.
Don't want
If you're going to tell me to leave my husband and whatever, I don't need your advice. I need somebody who's going to encourage me to bring the marriage together.
Absolutely.
And talking about that safe zone, when we get in it, we have to remain in it.
Yes.
And we have to be able to be willing to stick in it until we get through to the answer or whatever the needs are. A lot of good conversation gets cut off. And we don't get to have, I mean, I can have a conversation with my husband. I can't say you. My husband. And I don't come away from it feeling fulfilled. I come away from it feeling hurt. I come away saying, well, I'm never saying this to you. I'm never going to say anything to you again. It doesn't even make any sense talking to you because you never hear me.
Absolutely.
That marriage is in trouble.
Absolutely.
Whether we recognize it or not, it is in trouble. It needs to be one that we can hear each other. We can sit down and we can hash out the situation without shouting. A lot of women don't tell their husband things.
Absolutely.
Why?
Because they don't feel like they can be in that safe zone.
They're going to shout at me. They're going to carry on. I don't want to be bothered with this, so I'm just going to...
Absolutely.
Not good communication.
Not good communication.
Because what happens now, I'm walking around with all this stuff in me, and so it only breeds more.
Absolutely.
Contempt.
Absolutely.
More contempt.
Yeah.
And before you know it, we're in the divorce court.
Before you know it, you're in separate rooms, you're in the divorce court, separate cars. Every person that is complaining about a maid in communication, my advice is to find the root, because the root of it is that I don't want to have sex. Because every couple that's together that love each other, if you don't have issues going on, you want to come together and make love. Okay, that's number one. Number two is not that that person may not want to cook for you. I'm speaking to a man because we're women. I'm speaking to some of the men that may be watching. It's not that your wife may not want to cook for you and clean for you and be this domestic person that you may want. It's a root to everything. If that woman does not feel safe, does not feel secure, does not feel confident with the relationship she's in, everything is going to shut down. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Everything. That means sex. I don't want to have sex with you if I can't talk to you. This is an issue. Well, why doesn't my wife want to have sex with me when we get in the bed? The Bible says she's mine and I'm hers.
That's
so
right.
Every time I reach out for her, she's supposed to be ready, but instead she's like, I don't want to. No, not tonight. I've got a headache. I don't feel like it. Your job as the man. Your job as the man is to say, honey, we need to sit and talk about this. Tell me, and you must be willing to accept what you hear. Tell me what it is that I'm doing or not that is causing you to feel this way. We use that word, a root. There is a root to every one of these issues, guys. And women, it works the same way. If you're touching your husband and there is something wrong, because there was a time when they couldn't touch each other enough. And we know when life takes over and you have the kids and you have to think about the mortgage. It's not quite the same, but it doesn't take away from us having a solid, loving relationship. Every time my husband touched me, it doesn't have to be sex. I would love my husband to just touch me and run his hands through, just play with my head. I'm not telling you to, just run your hand down my head. Just make me feel warm and cozy. You know what happens after that? I'm all yours. Hello, gentlemen. Women, every time your husband is sitting there, you can massage his feet. Do something nice for him. Make him feel the love.
And this is communication, right? See, I'm taking notes.
Yes, and we've got to learn how to do these things. A lot of us are lacking in that. We're lacking. We even, you think the Christian church would have it together, but unfortunately, let's face the fact, we don't. We argue and fight as much as the world. That's not what the world's supposed to see coming out of us. They're supposed to see the love of God. And we're supposed to be able to communicate. Show them what it's like to be married. Show them what it's like to have a loving relationship. I want to have conversations that when we walk away from each other, we might not always come to the same agreement, but we can walk away in peace. Okay? That's how you feel about that subject. That's okay for you to feel that way. This is how I feel about it. But we agree to disagree. And we can walk away.
And if it's a huge issue, like if we walk away and we agree to disagree about what I should cook, big deal. Okay, you want collard greens instead of broccoli? Cool. But if it's a situation where I am saying, I am communicating that it makes me feel less than, it makes me feel bothered, it makes me feel bad that you are communicating with Sister Jones more than you're communicating with me, we can't walk away and agree to disagree. We have to come back and we need to reach a certain level of agreement, because that situation can taint. Can taint and cause more damage and more hurt. So there are certain situations that we may walk away and we still may not be in agreement, but then we got to come back and put it on the table, when we are fresh, and when we can talk, and when we can communicate effectively. This is what communication is all about. It's not your way, my way. Is we bring it to the table and we talk in a mature way. And if we can't get it together, then we bring a neutral person.
Yes.
Who can give godly.
Yeah, godly, note the word.
Godly advice,
Yeah.
and push us together, not rip us apart. Not be on your side, my side, the left side, but say, maybe you didn't see it this way, brother so-and-so. Your wife has a point because the Bible says this.
Mm-hmm. Or sister so-and-so.
Or sister so-and-so, the Bible says this, and we can bring it together. So we need communication, even if we have to bring in a third party.
Yes. And it's something that can be learned.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, for a lot of our brothers, you're not good at communicating with your wives. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we try to talk to you and you get a little funny, but it will break your lives apart if you don't put yourself out there to learn your wife. The scripture said that you should love your wife.
Absolutely.
You know what that means? You were willing to die for her.
Absolutely.
That means you're willing to go the extra mile to find out how to please her.
Absolutely.
How to make your wife happy. When you know how to make your wife happy, you're in the long run gain respect.
Absolutely.
Which is what your wife is supposed to give you. Doesn't mean she doesn't love you. Yes, she loved you. She married you.
Yeah.
Right? But she gains respect because now she's looking at this man and saying, he really cares about me. He really loves. What that does is bring out her love for
Absolutely.
you. And now you have a flower. It benefits you to put the time in to learn. And most men, and I heard someone say, I was listening to a conversation about this thing, that because the son grew up in a nurtured home where the mother and the father had good communication, he was able to pass it along in his own marriage. And so that issue, that communication worked with his mom and dad. He said it worked with his mom and dad. That's what he learned. But not everybody has a dad and a mom that they saw communicating well. And we know there's a lot of our guys out there that have gone through some things without a father, and they just never learned how to communicate their feelings. They learned how to push it on the inside.
Yes.
Okay? And so here we are trying to get them to be what they are not. They can't give what they don't have.
Absolutely.
We're the ones that are going to have to try to pull it out of them if they will allow us.
Yes.
Because some men would just,
Close.
at that point, you need some counseling.
Yeah.
You really, that's where you need that godly person to come in and help you to be able to talk. Important. It is one of the more, in fact, I wouldn't even say one of, I would say it is the most important thing in your relationship as a couple.
It's the truth, because once it shuts down, everything dwindles.
Everything shuts down.
Everything dwindles. Again, I can sit here as someone who was married, and I am in a great place with my ex-husband. I have no bitterness towards him. I have nothing bad to say about him. So I'll put it on me. I know for a fact in my next marriage, communication would be key.
It is key.
Because it's not that you don't love one another. Done deal. It's not that you're not attracted to one another. Done deal. But when you stop communicating with one another, you start hearing other voices.
Yes.
And other things start to influence your choices. And you're inspired by different things, and then before you know it, you're separated. It's done.
Yeah, and here comes this other woman who you don't know her yet, so you can talk everything to her.
Everything.
You're telling her, and your wife is sitting at home parched, drying out. Just wish my husband would sit and talk to me. I just wish he would listen to my heart. I just wish he'd get to know me for who I am, not who he perceives me. Because sometimes you can perceive wrong.
Yes.
And if you listen and learn, you'll be finding something quite different than what you perceive it to be. And so it is a necessity. I can't say it enough, guys, if you're listening. And women, before you get into relationships, I am telling you again, this is something you need to do. Make sure that is understood. We need to be able to talk to each other. We need to be able to tell each other. In fact, we need to become friends.
Yes.
Before we become lovers.
Absolutely.
Because after the love cools, If you can't talk to each other and the love's cool, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
We're going off somewhere.
I'm
We don't
telling
want
you.
that to happen.
No.
We want us to come together and be as one. We want to be
Absolutely.
whole. God wants a whole body.
Yes.
A whole body, a whole
Yes.
marriage,
Absolutely.
a whole home. And
Absolutely.
what we give, others can get from it.
You are so right. We hope that you are encouraged, and we hope that you are inspired to communicate more effectively. I know that we have technology. We can text. We can Facebook. We
Put it
can
down.
Put those things down, because
Oh,
that is
my.
not how you build a relationship. To all of the women who's looking to be married, if someone is texting you and inboxing you, but they're never picking up the phone to call you and talk to you and actually verbally see how you're doing,
And being able to give you a soul. Ladies, so when your soul isn't satisfied, your flesh don't want to be satisfied, your spirit don't want to be satisfied. In other words, get away from me.
Yep.
That's what will happen. So make sure that people talk about soulmate. I think they're thinking about soulmate, and it's more to do with the sexual part of it. No, soulmate is somebody that you can share your soul with.
Absolutely.
Somebody that you can talk to from your heart, from your gut.
Yes.
And get an understanding, get a feedback, and we are one. We
are
walk
one.
away stronger
Absolutely.
than when we came together. We need to have that.
Yes.
We need to have, and I'm praying for us as women that we get that. And man, I'm praying for you that you do something about the lack that is in your own marriage, in your own life, that will bring you together with your wife. Understand your position is to love your wife no matter what. And I know there are guys watching. We're not just talking to women. And women, if your husband, show them the tape. We'll take the blow.
Yeah, we will.
know how to pray.
You can slash my tires.
No, you don't. We will pray for you.
No, don't slash my tires.
We will pray for you and with you. We're praying for each other because we want the best for God's children. We want to be happy. We want to be joyful. We want to be at peace. We want to be whole. We want to be content. Does all those words describe some of the feelings that you guys are lacking? Yes. I know. Been there, done that. And it's a learning process. Life is it's a learning process.
Absolutely.
So we grow daily with it. We grow daily.
We're growing. So this has been Gospel in the Real. And this has been a real conversation about communicating.